Hari Om. Today's story is from a famous author who wrote many short stories for children. And he was a special person in the sense that it was during the British times that he was here in India as a child. He lived in Dehradun and then went on to live in Mussoorie. And he had lot of different types of experiences as he lived in the foothills of the Himalayas, and he was very attracted and drawn by the simplicity of the Pahadi people, the people who lived there, the way they interacted, their kind of livelihood, and how they were so closely connected to nature. And he felt that children should always somehow be connected to nature, and the various experiences that people had there, he would weave them all into short stories. And who doesn't like stories? So Ruskin Bond became a famous children's literature author, children's short story author, and there are many stories he's written, and one of his famous ones is The Angry River. So today we'll do the story Angry River, and this is the story of a brave girl. And what is it with the angry river? Let us see. Now there was a huge river. So in the middle of this huge river, there was an island. And on the island, which was big enough to have about 3 or 4 families, you find many such islands in these huge rivers, where there will be some trees and there will be some patches of land where people have built their huts, their houses, and they live there, but all their work will be in the mainland. So they keep crossing up and down on through ferry boats. And in this island, there lived one family where it was grandfather, grandmother, and a young girl, Sita, their granddaughter. Now Sita had lost her parents very early when she was still a baby, and she was brought up by her grandparents. And grandfather would go on with his work with goats and whatever trading he would do in the mainland, and while coming back he would bring fish. He would also fish in the river there, and it was freshwater fish, and that is rice and fish was what they ate, and this is how they spent their days. And Sita would help out with all the chores at home. Her grandmom was her friend, philosopher, guide, mom, dad, everything for her. And it so happened one morning that grandmom fell ill, and she had high fever which would not go, and Sita was very worried. Even grandfather was worried, and no matter what local medicine they gave her, she wouldn't recover. And then Sita very sadly asked grandfather, "Grandpa, what are we going to do now about grandma?" So he said, "Tomorrow morning I will take grandma to the mainland. I'll take her to the big hospital there, and Dr. Saab will be available, and he will take a look at her, and we will see what needs to be done." And then he told Sita, "Sita, I hope you're not afraid. You will have to stay alone here while I take your grandmother to the hospital in the mainland, and it might take us a few days, I don't know." So she said, "Don't worry, grandfather. We have all our sheep, and we have this peepal tree." There was a peepal tree, a big peepal tree just outside the hut, and that was her favorite place. She always climbed the tree, sat on the branches. She played at the on that katte like thing, at the tree, and she would go round and round the tree, and she would play her imaginary games and all that. So she had a very special bonding with that tree. And she said, "Don't worry, father, my friend the tree is also here. He's standing tall and strong. Nothing's going to happen, and I will be fine. You please take grandma and make sure that she becomes all right." Grandfather said, "All right, Sita, tomorrow morning I will leave. But you must remember that it is time for the rains to start. And in those Pahadi places, when it rains, you can't predict. Some days it will just be a drizzle. Sometimes it will be very stormy rain. And the river is also there, isn't it? So the river might swell up." So he warned her about it, and Sita said, "Don't worry, if anything happens, I will climb up the peepal tree and sit there, and I will be safe." So while this was decided, the next morning, grandfather took grandmother to the hospital on the other side in the mainland. Now now Sita was going about her work, and then she noticed dark clouds setting in. The clouds were gathering together, and there was thunder and then lightning, and the rains began. First a drizzle, and then the river started swelling because of continuous rain, and all the people there were going to be rescued, and she didn't know what to do. She had this tiny doll and she had called it Mamta, and she was asking Mamta, Mamta, what do you think? Do you think that the river that is swelling will reach the hut sometime? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of that river? I am a little afraid. It looks like that river is a little angry. And then he's telling Mamta, but you don't be afraid. I am very brave. The river actually is it's always been good to us. It has always provided us everything, and we will be protected. Don't worry. And she was talking to Mamta like this, but actually she herself was getting scared. And she also thought, oh, all right, grandfather's also left. I hope grandma will be fine. I hope her health will improve. She was thinking like this, and she heard people calling out and saying, we have to leave. We have to vacate this place. The rains are getting too much. And at this rate, our houses and all are going to be drowned in this river that is swelling up. And she saw from the window of her house that people were collecting all their belongings they had made with their big bed sheet. They had done a putti with all the things in their house, kept it on their head, and they took their cows, their goats, and whatever else they had, their trunk of clothes, everything, and they were walking out. But Sita was alone, and she was afraid to step out all by herself, so she remained in the hut. And then she realized that the water was somewhere approaching the hut. And then she went out, and then she climbed the tree and tried to see what the situation is like, and all she could see was water and water and water. And she realized that the water was starting to get into the hut, so she ran into the hut, and she had kept some stuff for cooking. She just, whatever half cooked, she ate a little bit, and she packed up all the things that were in the house in one big old trunk that they had, the metallic trunk. It can hold quite a bit, it only looks like that rectangular box, but she filled it all with whatever she could in the house. And grandfather's special hookah was there, and grandmother's walking stick was there. So she kept everything carefully and said, let it be safe here. She did all this, and then she looked outside, and suddenly the door just collapsed because the river water came in, and she didn't know what to do. So she ran and climbed the tree, and then she held on to a branch, and then that tree also started shaking because the winds were terrible. And she saw from the tree that her hut, the walls had collapsed, and the whole house was drowned. And then she saw that her dear Mamta, the doll, was in the water. Grandfather's turban she saw, the pots she saw, and then she saw the trunk. What happened to the trunk? But the trunk was quite strong, so it kind of stood where it was. But Mamta, the doll, was washed away. And she kept saying, Mamta, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. The river will take you to some place safe. And in all that thoughts, she suddenly realized that the branch on which she was sitting cracked. Crack, 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 splash! And she was in the water, holding on to dear life on the trunk. And she held it so hard that her hands and all were hurting. And then she tried to swim with one hand. She was pushing the water, and she went afloat like this. And as she was floating, wondering what she was going to do next, she heard a call. She heard somebody say, hello, hello. I saw coming from a distance. And she looked around, who could this be? And then she saw that there was somebody coming towards her in a boat. And she noticed that there was a young boy sitting in that boat, maybe a little older than herself. And that boy said, hey, you girl, come, get on to the boat. Otherwise the river will take you along with it. And she held on to that log, that now that branch had become like a log, isn't it? And she held on to it, and the boat came close. He gave her his hand and pulled her into the boat. Oh, Now she looked back. She saw the tree, her favorite tree. Her hut was gone. Grandfather, grandma, she knew nothing about. Her dearest Mamta was gone in the river. And now the tree was also falling apart. All the branches one by one were falling. And she was thinking, will I ever see all this again? What is going to happen? She was lost in those thoughts. And the boy also waited. And then he started talking to her and he said, I have seen you on the island a couple of times. Where are all the others? And Sita said, oh, all of them vacated. My grandfather has taken my grandmother to the mainland, to the hospital. She wasn't well. And I really don't know what is happening there. But there's just nobody left on that island now. And I don't know where all our goats have gone. And my favorite doll is gone. My hut is all in the water now. And she was feeling very sad about it. And then she looked at him and said, but where are you from? I don't think I have seen you around here. So then he said, I live near the foothills across the river. And then I came to know that, a lot of villages have got flooded and the current was too strong and the boat that I was in kind of got swept away in a different direction. And the people also they'd all taken their different boats and I was left alone on this boat and this boat lost its direction. And then I saw that there was a girl holding on to a branch there and that's when I called out to you. And then she asked him, by the way, what's your name? He said, my name is Krishan. And she said, oh, my name is Sita. And they both told each other, nice that we found each other. Otherwise, we were so lonely. And he also said, guess what I have with me? I have a few mangoes. And he pulled out 2 mangoes and said, here, you have one and I will have one. Because they were both hungry now. And they both savored that mango. Yum, yum, yum. Sweet, juicy, fleshy mangoes. And they enjoyed it. And he said, I have another 2 left, so we will save it. We don't know when we will reach any land. Until then, let us save it. When you're really hungry, we'll eat it. She said, okay. And then they went on to talk to each other. No, she asked him, do you go to school? And he said, yeah, there is a local school. I go there. And he asked Sita, what about you? Sita said, no, I don't go to school. Only grandpa and grandma are at home and they can't do all the work by themselves. So I am at home and I help them with all the work around there. I even cook good yummy food for my grandparents. And I take the goats out for grazing. So this is how I spend my day. Alright, they kept talking and talking and then the sun started to set. Which means what? Started to get darker and darker and darker. And then they saw some snake there and they saw some animals floating and she was a bit scared. She also saw some deer running helter and skelter because now the woods also was full of water there. And a lot of the animals were getting washed and some of them were just running. Some were climbing up trees. But the rain slowly reduced and somewhere the rain kind of stopped. But these 2 were still floating in their boat. They didn't even know which direction to go to. And it was night and then Krishan said, Sita, you sleep, you take rest and I will stay awake. And then he was sitting up and the moon was up now and it was a full moon night and so it was nice and bright the sky. And in that dark blue skies and the moonlit sky there, this Krishan looked like Lord Krishna himself to Sita. And she wondered, could it be that Krishna that I have heard about? All the stories of how handsome he was. This Krishan also looks like him. And then suddenly she shook herself and said, no, this can't be. Why am I dreaming like this? And then she slowly went off to sleep. And then suddenly she was woken up by a baby elephant going. It was looking for its mother. And then at a distance they saw the mother also coming. And it was a beautiful reunion of the mother elephant and the baby elephant. And like this time passed. And then she said, I'm awake now, I'm not able to sleep. So Krishan said, I know. And he pulled out a wooden stick from his dhoti. And what was it? It was a flute. Sita wondered, Krishan, he looked blue in that moonlight. And now he has a flute in his hand. And again she went off into her dreams. And he played such melodious music that she was just carried into beautiful, happy dreams. And then when she woke up next, it was morning. And the sky was no more blue or dark blue. It was golden yellow in color because Surya Bhagavan was in all his splendor there. And then she noticed that Krishan was still asleep. And she says, God knows when he slept. He was awake for so long. Let him rest. I won't disturb him. Then finally he woke up and he said, just 2 more mangoes. Last 2. Should we eat it up? So Sita said, yes, I'm very hungry. So they both had that last mango. And then he started rowing the boat in one direction. And what did they see ahead? They saw some people moving around there. They saw some boats approaching a land area. And they were so relieved. Said, at last we have reached land. And when they reached there, it was a different part of the mainland. And there they found that there were a lot of people and they talked to them. And this Krishan had found some people that he, some acquaintance, some relative he met. And they said that he had to wait there because the rest of them were still coming into the mainland. And so Krishan told Sita, I have to stay back here because my people are going to come anytime. And then I will go back to my place with them. And Sita said, alright, I need to get to my other side of that mainland. And then they spoke to some of the villagers there. And one villager who had a bullock cart offered to take her. He said, I am also going in that direction. I will take you to your to that side of the mainland where your island was close to. So she was very thankful. The villagers also gave them food to eat. So she was no more hungry. And she sat in that bullock cart. And that villager took her carefully. Madhya, it had rained, right? So in between the wheel of that cart would get stuck in wet loose mud or some between 2 rocks, and she had to help him push the cart out. And with all these adventures, finally she reached the mainland. And she said thank you to that villager who dropped her and said, dear child, be careful, I hope you find your grandfather soon. She said, yes, thank you, uncle. And the villager went on his way. And now Sita kept walking in the narrow streets of that mainland. And as she was watching all the people going about here and there, and she was also walking, suddenly she realized, Grandpa! And she ran and said, Grandpa! And Grandpa turned back and said, Sita, my dear, oh, I am so relieved here. And he gave her a nice tight hug. He said, oh, my child, I was wondering if I would ever see you again. What happened on that island? Sita was like, Grandpa, first tell me how Grandma is. And Grandpa was sad and sullen and he didn't say a word. And then Sita understood that Grandma was no more with them. She had passed away. Anyway, she didn't want to hurt the feelings of Grandpa, so she didn't ask him any further questions on that. And then she asked about the island, and she told the whole story of how everything had got washed away on that island and how she was rescued by a young boy called Krishan and how a villager had brought her in his bullock cart to this mainland and how she got reunited with her grandpa. Then the two of them, since the rains had all stopped, they took a boat and they were ferried across to their island. And when they went to their island, no trace of that hut. And the tree, the huge peepal tree on which Sita used to play, was completely uprooted. With the root it had come out. But one thing she found was the trunk. And Grandpa said, you saved these things in the trunk. Thank you, my child. And they opened the trunk and he was so happy to find his hookah. Small pleasures of the villagers. And they both decided that they would build another hut. So they found a huge jute cloth like thing. So they put some sticks, put that jute cloth, and they made a temporary shelter, and they stayed under that, and slowly they built a hut. And they were constructing that hut, and they were sadly looking at the space where the peepal tree once stood. And Sita pulled out a mango seed and told her grandpa, "Grandpa, I'm going to plant this mango seed here. I know it's going to take many years before it turns into a tree, but it doesn't matter. Someday a tree will stand here. If not a peepal tree, no problem. It will be a mango tree. No worries." And Grandpa also was very happy about it. And Grandpa went out, got some fish, and she cooked dinner for him. And the next day again, Oh, by the way, Krishan had left something very precious with Sita. He had given her the flute and had told her, "When you see this flute, you will remember me. So that way you will never forget me. And take good care of this flute, alright? It's a very special flute of mine." And Sita said, "But I don't know how to play this flute." He said, "No problem. You just keep it with you. Try it sometime." And so now suddenly she was reminded of that flute. And she went in and she had kept it very safely. She brought that flute, and first of all, to hold it itself, she took some time this way, that way, this side, or this side, which hand, this way, this way. She tried all sorts of things, and finally she was able to hold the flute. And she blew into it, but it did not make the kind of sound that Krishan used to make. It did not make that beautiful music. And then she was walking around in that. There was some grass that had grown, and she was walking around, and she heard some really sweet, pleasant flute music. And she looked in that direction, and whom did she see? That was Krishan. Krishan had come, and he had another flute with him, and he was playing the flute. And then she was so happy to meet him, and he was also happy to meet her. So they became great friends, and Krishan slowly taught her how to play the flute. And they would sit by the riverside once in a while and talk many things, and they would remember how once this river had become the angry river. And it is because of that angry river that Sita and Krishan had met, and they were good friends. And because of that, now Sita was learning how to play a flute, and Sita was very happy to have found a friend. And this was the story of the Angry River, written by Ruskin Bond. I hope you all enjoyed this story. I certainly enjoyed telling it. Hari Om.